Okay, so Divi 5 just released class-based sections, but they're actually not calling it class-based sections. Instead, they're calling it preset-based design. And on first look, it's pretty weird. So I kind of wanted to just go over the documentation and go in and actually test out these new preset-based designs and just kind of give my opinion on it. Okay, so let's start. So other builders call them classes. So yeah, that's the first thing that, I realized. It's weird that it's not called classes, but let's just continue. We call them presets. Preset-based design leverages reusable styles to manage our website's design system. You can turn Divi's option groups into presets and apply them to any element. Divi has a Divi has long had the concept of presets. However, option group presets are unique because they are not module specific, allowing them to be mixed and matched across all elements. Okay, so this is what I'm a little bit confused about because it says they're unique because they're not module specific, but I don't think CSS classes are module specific either. Like if I created a class that was like padding bottom and the class was padding bottom 20 pixels, that would work across all types of elements. That would work on a H1, that would work on a div, etc., etc. But I think the way that Divi in general handles their modules, I think that is the reason why they have to call this um, a preset because the presets I think only align to the module itself. So I'll go in and kind of test that and clear the water with that. If you want to use the same background, border, or text or title text style across multiple elements, you no longer need to design those elements repeatedly. Turn on each design motif into a preset and apply it everywhere. Okay, that is actually really cool. And I actually think one reason why maybe they're calling this presets and not classes is because when you apply these to like an element, like when you apply a border and you like change the color of that border, it kind of acts a little bit different than a class. I'll go in the front end and test it, but let's just keep going. So turn options into design presets. So looking at the website in the video below, you can see that as is often the case, there are many repeating styles. That is what makes the design cohesive. A repeating background style combines color, gradient, and image to highlight several essential elements. Dude, a bird just shit all over my car. Oh man, that's really gross. Oh no, that's really bad. Okay, let's continue. Instead of creating the background style repeatedly, I can turn it into a preset. Designing becomes much easier as I can apply the background preset to any element. More importantly, if I want to adjust the style, I only have to edit the preset and everything gets updated at once. Okay, so we'll try that. So what they're saying here is you adjust the style, you put it on an element, and then it'll change that across the entire page. Which I'm just really confused because I thought that's how classes in CSS pretty much worked as well. Maybe I'm wrong. So option group presets can be combined. Each preset is a modular piece of your design system. In the video below, you can see that the various elements on the design page share design motifs. They use the same border radius, border shadow, box border, and title text style, and they're all built with presets. So if you want to go and watch that video, you can. Pretty cool video. So layer option presets on top of element presets. You can stack option styles on top of element presets. In the video below, the columns use a preset with a shared background color, border radius, box shadow, and spacing. I can apply that preset whenever I want to create the appearance of an elevated card. Okay. I also have border and box shadow presets used to highlight certain elements. I can stack these those option presets on top of the column preset. I rarely have to style individual elements because my entire website is designed with presets. Okay, that's cool. So this is a little bit laggy here. Okay. Yeah, this is, oh man. Okay. Edit default presets to style your website's base components. So, okay, they're saying this part's huge. Let's go ahead and see. You can modify the default presets of any option group to style your website's base components. For example, when I change the font of the default title preset, all titles in all my modules get updated since they inherit styles from the default preset. Okay, that will actually make updating Divi websites like 5 times easier. Like, I don't even understand the amount of times that I've been working on a Divi 5 website. I work with Divi 5 websites for work, but I can't like sit here and like start to like even conceptualize how many times I've had a page where I have like this H2 heading at the top of the page or H1 heading at the top of the page. And let's say that the design is all changed on one of the pages because uh, the client or my boss was like, okay, you need to change we don't want this to look like this. I have to go into every other page and edit that. And that is a pain. And right now, they do have presets which is like it feels like it's the same thing, but at the same time, these new presets lets you change the style directly in that preset. So for me, the only reason why presets just didn't personally work for me was because Divi 4 was so slow that the presets were just like unusable. Like Divi 4 in general was unusable, and now at work, I actually did get the go ahead and use Divi 5. The only thing that doesn't work are the Woo modules, which is something that I don't currently use at work. So um, this is actually something that's making me want to bite the bullet and risk some of the bugs. But okay, so yeah, these presets change across everything, or they change with everything across the website. And I think that's the end of the documentation. And something that's coming soon is the advanced units, which is actually going to be something that's also a game changer because clamp units are just like so used now. And having clamp values would actually be really helpful. Instead of having to go, and I'll show this, instead of having to go in and do everything for mobile, desktop, uh, tablet, like you would just set a clamp and it would work across all of the different sizes. And then obviously they have more updates coming soon. So this was oddly buggy. Uh, I think it was, I'm not sure if this is Arc, but it's just really buggy. Okay. So let's go into WordPress and let's start editing with Divi and seeing what they mean by this. So if we add a new row, we add 2 sides of text. I mean, Divi in general now is just so much faster. It's actually usable. So I use it for work. I've said that like 1,000 times. Personally, I would not have used Divi as a builder, me personally. But since I use it at work, I have like basically no choice as to what I use. It's just whatever I'm told to use. And so this is just going to make things easier. It's going to make updating websites easier. And I don't know what that huge spacing there is. Let's see. Okay, so let's just go into how the presets work. So we have a heading text right here. For some reason, it just has a massive amount of gap. So let's do text. Let me try something else real quick. So if we duplicate, okay, that's fine. We'll just use the heading. I think it's like that by default, unless you go into like a style sheet and turn off all of the default paddings, like do like a CSS reset page. But let's go into heading text. And like, let's say I have a H1, right? And I want to make a class. I just go into select a group preset. Before, I guess the preset was, it lived up here, right? So before this preset had to be applied, I guess, to the heading. But now, since these presets live at the actual element level, now I guess what's happening here is that that is what makes the preset available across the entire website instead of having to go up here and then it's available on only H1s, which is weird because like I guess when you have like elements like audio, I guess there is like some heading text that you would want to apply to like a call to action or something like that, where you go into the call to action, you go into the setting, and it has its title text. So I wonder, we'll actually test that right now, if the heading preset will actually go towards the this module right here. And I think that's what the Divi team was trying to do, because if you just have the preset from up here, it won't apply to this because it's going to apply a preset of a call to action and not the actual heading text. And that's kind of what I'm thinking they were trying to get across in that messaging. So let's just edit the preset and let's add a new preset. And I'm going to say heading, or I can just say, yeah, heading small. And then this is actually something else that kind of bugs me. Why is this title cased right here or camel cased? Why isn't this just put in the same way that I type it in here? This is just a nitpick, but I would like if the way that I name my preset is actually the way it shows up. But I digress. So if we go to the font, there's no need to change that. Let's say I want this to be medium. Or actually, let's just do bold. So it goes to bold, and then I want the color to be, and I'll choose for my global color, and I'll use the heading text color. And let's say I want the size to be 60 pixels. Okay, so that's cool. Let's do something else. Let's do like 50. Okay, so that's cool. That works. But here's the thing. So without the advanced units, I'd have to change this across devices. So right now, there doesn't seem to be an option to do that, not from what I've seen. So let's keep everything else the same and let's just save the preset for heading small. Okay, so the preset for heading small has been applied, but like on tablet and mobile, it hasn't changed. And currently, let me see if the preset allows me to do this. If I go to preset settings and I go to the sizing, I guess right now I'm in the tablet. I just wish there was a way to just switch into from here, because now I have to switch to tablet and like let's say I want this to be 40, or let's say I want this to be, let's say 35. And then when I switch into mobile, it should change. It's going to inherit. And let's say I want this to be 30. Whoop, that's too big. 30. And then it'll change 35, 45, and we'll save the preset. And sure, I only had to do that once, but I would have rather, I don't know. I don't know that the extra clicks were necessary. I wish it was just built in to where I could just go ahead and like have like, because they have this already. Like in Divi 4, you would like click here and then you'd switch to mobile. I don't know, but I digress. Okay, so now let's say the spacing. So they have default spacing on elements, and I don't like those. So let's see, is it margin that they've added? Yeah, they've added margin on elements. So if I go ahead and I just do 0 across all elements, this almost works as like a reset. So I can go here and I can, oh, I already have a few. Let me new preset from current styles. And I guess it wouldn't even matter to do a reset here because I would just have to do it once. So let's just say padding bottom small, or let's make sure we bottom small, have good naming. And then the padding bottom would be like 20 pixels. And then cool. And then this is another thing. Now I have to go into tablet and like let's say I want it to be 15. I could do 15 or let's just say 10. And then on mobile, I'd have to go like, let's say I only want this to be 5. And I just realized it's actually the margin that's actually affecting this. So let me see. So let's say 0. No, actually, I guess I already resetted all those other values, so it's fine. So we can save the preset and we can, it's called padding bottom small, save it, and it works correctly. Okay, and so now the idea is that that can be applied to other elements. So like if I go here, I go to design, it's already put here. So let's go here, design, and if we go to the spacing, we can select a preset, uh, border padding small, and that did not do what I thought it was going to do. Okay, that's really weird. So let's go back here. Let's go to the spacing. Maybe it's because I didn't press save. So padding bottom small, save the preset. And then now it's not applying at all. So, okay, maybe it's because I need to put here 20. But it's weird because I already had this applied. Maybe I hard coded something on accident. So let me see. So I don't want top. Okay, let's make it only bottom. Let's apply the preset and it should change. Let's remove everything. Let's remove this. And this is another thing. I need to just make sure that I'm not doing anything extra here. So let's save this and let's actually break this down inside of the developer log and let's see what's going on here. So if we inspect, we go here, let's see what's being added. So let's move this a little bit. And we see we're getting a padding bottom of 20, exactly what we were expecting. But the heading one has its own padding of 10, and that's weird. Um, so Divi does have its default styles on at some points, and that's just really weird. But I digress. Let's go here. Let's go to spacing, and let's say padding bottom small. So if we do that, let's save, and let's do something like a button. And surely enough, the button should work. Let's just go to the default. Okay, cool. So now if we go here, let's go to spacing, padding bottom small, boom, working correctly. Let's save. And now let's try to edit that preset class. So if we go here and we edit this, and we're going to say, hey, it's going to be 30 instead. It'll be 30 across everything. And surely enough, it's updated everywhere. And so if we go here, we update, we should see that class has been added. So it's been added here and it's been added here. Divi has their own weird spacing rules on their elements. You could go ahead and edit that inside of a child theme. I do wish it just didn't, but that's just how it is. Maybe it's the line height. I don't think line height has anything to do with it, actually. It's just a weird way that Divi handles their elements. You would need to go in and just put a reset page style, and it should fix that. Okay, so now here's the thing that I was wondering, right? So having this heading small is cool, and I just wonder if it's going to work across other modules. So if we go here, and I don't think it actually will because I think it's a completely new module, right? So title text, you go here, heading small. Okay, so wait, does that actually work? I think it actually does work. So heading small actually did inherent into a call to action title text because in essence, they're both headings. And that's exactly, okay, that's actually really cool. And I think that's why they're calling this presets, element presets, or that's why they're using that weird name. Let me go back to the name, see what they're calling it. Uh, this is why they're calling it preset-based design. Because in the old way of Divi, you would save it here, but it would only be for this call to action. But now it's any element or any module that uses a heading. So like if we go to blurb, it should work also in the blurb. So sorry, this is too big. Okay, cool. So if we go to this blurb here, let's edit the blurb and we go to title, it should be heading small. It should work. And that is actually really cool. I really do like that. That's cool. So if we go here, let's go to text and I want to create a preset. So text small, I already have one. Let's say text medium. Let's just edit text small for now. And let's say I want this to be 12. Oh, that is way too small. 13. Okay, well, it's going to be small in general. And then this kind of already works across everything, so that's fine. So if we save the preset, we have text small. And if we go here and we go to text, it doesn't show up. Okay, so that's weird because this text module here, I'm creating a class called text small and it updates here. Let's see if it shows up here. So text, nope, it doesn't show up here. So it still doesn't show up across all of the different modules. The heading does, but the regular text actually doesn't. So let's see if I say, let's create a new preset here. And this is text 2. Oh, wait, maybe I was in the wrong thing. Oh, body text. I was in the wrong thing. Okay, so if we select a preset, okay, so it does. I apologize. It actually does. It just goes to body text instead of text. That's just weird naming on my end. Okay, so what if we go and try the spacing classes? So let's say padding bottom small. Okay, so padding bottom small doesn't actually change the padding between this heading element and this body element. So what would? So let's just turn this off and let's see here. So title text, surely there's a way to do that and I just don't know. So let's just say padding bottom 20 pixels is just going to move that. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so that's actually really weird. So on the modules like my title, I can't actually change the padding between these two elements because the padding, the spacing class on here is taking the entire parent of the element we're working in. And it might be the same here on a blurb. So let's see. So yeah, it's going to be the same on a blurb. So because they have their own classes here. So it does work in a different way that classes don't really work in. So let's say 20 pixels. What is that going to change? That's going to change that because that's the image. Um, let's go to title text and it's probably going to be somewhere here in the settings. But the weird thing is these spacing classes work on the parent container. So there's no way to change the padding between these two elements. Not that I'm aware of, not anything that's very visible right now. And that's really weird. So another thing that's really weird about this new Divi 5 system is the buttons. I want to see if the buttons are still cracked. So if we go to button, let's use some custom styles. Uh, it's still cracked. I can just already tell. So let's say we want to use that. Button border, we'll keep that the same. Button text, let's say we want white. Border, no border. Icon, no icon. Cool, it works. So, and we preview and we see that it works perfectly fine, right? But when we go here and we try to add a preset, it'll just, it'll crap on itself. It'll just stop working. So let's say padding bottom small, boom. So now we saved it. We see that it didn't actually affect the button itself. And when we go here, oh, now it actually does affect the button on the front end. But as you can tell, when we hover it, it's almost like it has a mind of its own. where it'll just apply whatever CSS it wants on the hover because Divi already has their hover presets on buttons by default. And so that's one of my biggest, I guess, gripes is that they kind of trap you into their design system instead of letting the user choose how they want things to work and how they want things to function. And I think that is just a cause of this being a page builder geared towards people who want to update and build websites by yourself. They're kind of in the camp of build your own website in 5 minutes type of thing. And that's why they have all of these classes. That's why when you hover like an H1, they have default padding on their H1. Or that's why when you hover, let's say this blurb, they have their own defaults. They have their defaults on everything because they assume that I guess the user won't be able to do these things themselves. And so while that does maybe make it easier for less experienced people to build websites, it if there's no way to overwrite these things or to turn this off, like there should be a reset built into Divi that you just turn it off and they won't apply any of their styles. And this would be better for people who actually understand how to design websites to go in and actually make corrective updates. But when they have all of their own classes and all of their own CSS just built into it, it makes it that much more difficult. And then weird edge cases like this where buttons where they just physically don't work, it makes those edge cases even stronger. So let's try to add a class to the background. So these classes should work pretty normal. So let's say, and that was weird how it just fell out. Let's say background lights, and let's just say it's something like D7. Oh, that's way too dark. I didn't think it was going to be that dark. Is it F3 is the class? Or the unit? Yeah, F3. So cool. So we save the preset, we go in, we create, and surely enough, it's only applied here. But yeah, there's ways that Divi is handling building, which I think fundamentally is never going to change because of who their website builder is catered towards. But I think there's ways that Divi can kind of get around it and let people who understand design principles have more control over their layouts. Um, it's really weird that I can't actually fix the spacing here unless I go to custom CSS, module elements, go to the, let's say, the title and say padding bottom 20 pixels and now it'll work. But there's no way to do that in the design tab. It's just nowhere to be found. I mean, I don't see it. I certainly don't see it. Maybe I have to keep looking around for it, but it's just really weird that I have to go pecking and looking for it and seeing where it's at. And I just wish it would just kind of work. And then here's another thing. So sizing, I guess when you're doing sizing, let's say I want to add a max width, and every time you open it, it'll just close. So let's say I wanted to add a max width. I guess I would just add like 200 pixels max width, or let's just say 300. That's a little bit too harsh. 300 pixels. Whatever, it's still harsh. So, and let's say I say max width small. Okay. So this is really weird. So I save the preset here, max width small. But what if I don't want this max width here? Would I have to go here and then go to max width and then, sorry, would I have to go here, edit this class and turn max width into 0? I guess you literally have to do it that way. Uh, or it actually doesn't even let you reset. So it says up to 300, so you'd have to do something like 700 and then it would work to correctly. And then now it'll work correctly. Obviously, it's not going to go over, but yeah, that's really weird. So if you want to set, I guess ideally you can just have a bunch of these, have max width, max height, view height. Like you could, ideally, that's not that big of an issue. but it is a pretty weird way to handle it. Um, Generally, in like a class-based system, I don't think you would do that. And then another thing is that this button just doesn't update in the builder. So let's reload. Yeah, it doesn't update until you actually preview something. Like now, when you preview, it'll show, but it doesn't show in the builder. I know they're still in the alpha stage. They say that this is ready to use on websites. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure that it's ready yet. But at the same time, when it's being compared to Divi 4, it's like using Divi 5 and then trying to go back to Divi 4 and update websites is like, oh my goodness. It's almost like undoable. It's Divi 4 is just so laggy at this point, and I know they're currently working on this. They're gonna have a lot of features, and I think who they're really trying to compete against is like Elegant Themes, like trying to compete against Elementor. Like, I don't think they're building Divi to compete with like something like Bricks or something like Oxygen, to where they're following all of not well, they're following best practices when it comes to how the CSS is written and how you can debug things, and they don't have their own classes going on top of things, where it's like you're going in here and you're trying to debug things, and it's like you have all of these classes and you kind of have to just mess around with things and see what works, what doesn't. um I think Divi 5 will get better in this year, and because they have a lifetime license, I think that's actually something that kind of helps their case, where the price to develop with Divi is cheaper than Elementor, so I guess you get some people that way. But yeah, they have a long way to go, and I do think that the teams Elegant Theme team can do a lot of major changes. I'm gonna keep on updating with whatever changes they bring, but it's pretty cool. I like the direction it's going in. They're definitely getting better, and that's cool. But I guess for now, that's pretty much it. I just kind of wanted to go over some of those changes and kind of read through the new docs. I'm gonna keep posting more Divi content and just testing and messing around with things and seeing how things work. But that's pretty much it for this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.